2 months ago, I launched this viral F1 Python project, and since then, it has been viewed over 2 million times and become the second most starred Formula One project on GitHub. And when I made a video about this in December, the community's reaction to it was amazing. So with it being a month later, I wanted to give you an update on what has changed with the project and what the future holds. But first, let me remind you what this project is all about. F1 Race Replay is an open source Python application used for visualizing Formula One telemetry and replaying races from above. So now let me tell you what's changed. Well, there have been a bunch of awesome new features that have been added to the project, so let's go through some of the most important ones in under a few minutes. The old method of running the project by passing the year and the round number into the terminal have been replaced by this pretty fancy GUI here. This allows you to browse the seasons, the events, and the sessions that are available for you to watch. On the qualifying viewer, you can now see a comparison line that represents the telemetry from the pole position lap of the weekend. This is so that you can see where a driver is gaining or losing time compared to another driver. We've also added in this broadcast style timing insight, which shows the drivers' times in each sector and how they compare to the pole position lap time as well. And finally, the DRS zones are also displayed in the telemetry and on the track. Now onto the race viewer, and a lot has changed here. Firstly, there is now a box containing some information on the race that you are watching, such as the title, the circuit name, the country, the round number, the dates, and the number of laps as well. You can now select multiple drivers to view their telemetry insights if your screen is large enough, with these bars representing how much they are pressing on each of the pedals, as well as the gaps to the cars around them. Oh, and we've also added some color to the DRS indicator, which makes it much easier to see when a driver has DRS available. And two more added little features. You can toggle driver labels, which makes it much easier to find your favorite driver on track. And you can also toggle a race timeline, which allows you to skip to different points in the race with these little flag indicators, also being really useful as well for seeing what's going on. So now that you've been given a rundown of the updates, let's talk about what the future holds for this project and how you can get involved. The vision for this project has always been to create a pit wall style experience for Formula One fans and for programmers, allowing them to look deeper into the data behind what has actually happened on track. Therefore, any feature that brings us closer to the goal of building that kind of application is something that we of course want to implement into the project. I say we because it's not just me working on this project anymore. Because it's open source, there have been over 100 pull requests raised by developers in the community all around the world who wanted to do their bit to add to the project. So if you're watching this and you have already contributed to the project, thank you very much. Now, a few people have wondered why we switched out the CLI menu that this developer built for a GUI approach instead. So let me explain that one. So the reason I've added this GUI into the project is because it sets us up nicely to build more pit wall style features. The CLI tool was really great, but the problem was that it kept limiting possibilities for what we could do from a user experience point of view. And that just meant that it's impossible to add these new features. In fact, let me explain how this GUI works. So I'm using PySide 6 to build this interface. Now, this is just one of the many options that you have when you are building an interface using Python. So why did I go for this one? Well, after doing a bunch of research, I found that even though this library is a little bit clunkier to use, it's a little bit more annoying to use as well, it does give us a lot of flexibility when it comes to building the new features that we want to add. So I didn't want to build an interface using a different library and then find out that a specific feature that I wanted to build just wasn't possible because of the library's limitations. So I went with the most flexible option, and that was PySide 6. The plan for the UX is that when a user opens a specific session, they are going to be able to open up different insights as well as the normal replay viewer that they are used to seeing. These insights could include things like pit window graphs or telemetry that is coming off of a driver's car, but in a lot more detail, like you see in qualifying, but maybe in the race. Basically anything that you might see on a real life pit wall. Just to confirm, you can still access the CLI menu, but it's not the default option anymore. So my current focus for this project is building interfaces that any developers can use to help build insights to make it more like a pit wall. And it's not actually as simple as it sounds, because you need to make sure that data is being shared between the arcade window, which runs the existing interface, but also the new pit wall style interface that uses PySide 6. So it's a little bit of a pain, but once that's done, that should mean that any developer should be able to contribute and easily create these new features that share data between the windows. For those of you who haven't yet checked out the project, you can access the GitHub repository by clicking the link in the description. If you would like to contribute to the project, of course, feel free to build something, raise a pull request, and I will review it as soon as I possibly can. Also, if you follow me on social media, you've probably seen that this year I want to launch some open source projects like this one that more programmers can get involved with. So if you are interested in getting involved in any of those kinds of projects, make sure that you sign up to my newsletter to receive an email when these new projects get launched. Anyway, thank you for watching this quick update on the F1 Race Replay project. I hope you did enjoy. And if you did, please do leave a like down below, hit the subscribe button if you're new, and tap the bell icon to get notified whenever I post a new video.